He's making a list. Checking it twice. Ooh, gonna see who's naughty or nice. One of the things that I do a lot of as a business owner is I make lists. I make a lot of lists. I often check them. I check them twice. And when it comes towards the end of the year, I use these lists to see if I've been naughty in my business and spent money in ways that really weren't good investments. Why did I hire that person? Or to see if I've been nice. Yes, that marketing budget is doing its thing. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, lists aren't just for business. Of course, lists can also be very invaluable in our personal lives. But when I think about the lists that I've made, there's often this feeling of wanting. And so that is our topic of today. When we are reviewing our lives, are we always just wanting things? Or am I always just wanting things? Okay, I can't be alone in this. And so, welcome to Get Real Ray, a place and space for life and business tips from this creative soul to you to hopefully inspire you or at the very least provide you with some laughs. And so, let's get real. Let's get real today. I confess, I have so many lists. I have tried doing lists in different apps. I've used Asana. I've used the iPhone notepad. I tried Monday.com. I tried... oh my goodness, there are so many out there, and I feel like I've tried just about everything known to man. What's the very popular one? Milk, something about milk. There's something about, don't forget the milk, or something like that. I have an app for groceries where I make lists. I've used Excel, and I've used Word. I have to say, Excel has been the best for me. I was a huge Asana fan, and then I found myself with a whole bunch of lists that I pretty much stopped checking because they were just too complicated. Not that Asana was too complicated, but my lists were too complicated. I had a list of my life goals for year 1 and year 2, and then I had to have my list of business goals for year 1 and year 2, and then you also have to have the 5-year list, the 10-year list. I had my list of friends that I wanted to make a priority in my life and make sure that I nurtured those relationships. I had a list of to-dos in my home. Gotta fix this, gotta clean that. To-dos in my business. Don't forget to email this person. Don't forget to create a new marketing campaign for the new program that you're launching. Don't forget to make sure that all the contractors have the new updated contract that needs to be signed based on the change in the type of work that they're doing. List and list and list and list. It goes on and on and on. And I found myself slowly opening my Asana app less and less, feeling less and less excited to check things off and to get going. Now, this same problem has happened with every app that I've used. I get really into it. I feel like this is what's going to change my life. I've tried the habit of using Google Calendar. I think I was watching like a Matt De La Villa video, and Thomas Frank, I think, did a very similar thing, which is schedule everything, whatever it is, schedule it. So I tried scheduling everything. And what I found is that I was starting to ignore those Google Calendar notifications. Yep, I had it scheduled when to eat, when to brush my teeth, when to make that business phone call, when to go ahead and practice dance, when to teach. All the things were scheduled, and more, I just stopped looking at the notifications. I stopped checking my calendar. Now, I think this is pretty common. When we find ourselves bombarded with information, we tend to just stop paying attention. I like to think of the old Charlie Brown character, or, well, rather the Charlie Brown cartoon, where you hear this character off screen going, wah, 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 wah. That's the adult. And that is what the adult sounds like to the kids. They just hear squawking. That might be how I sound like to you watching this video. I hope not. I hope I don't sound like a squawking bird. I don't know. Or maybe that's good. Maybe the presence is just being enjoyed. It's like, who cares what she says? She's just a squawking bird. I'm kidding. So all in all, I have found myself just tuning out these systems that I have set up in order to allow me to stay on track. Now, is it because the brain is going, whoa, too much information, can't handle? Is it a brain overload? Or is it my way of dealing with discomfort, dealing with obligation? Like, ooh, I know there's a lot to be done, so I'm just not going to do it, right? That kind of avoidance behavior. Now, I could say that would I really be ignoring messages about brushing my teeth or calling my friends if I was feeling negative towards that behavior? No, because I like calling my friend and I like brushing my teeth. However, I would say that the overall idea of checking the app or looking at the notification just no longer kind of registers. And sure, that could just be because there's so much there, I ain't got time for it. Or it could also just be out of habit, trying to build the habit of routinely checking, finding that there's lots of information that maybe I don't really need the app to tell me. Like, I don't need Google Calendar to tell me to brush my teeth, right? I can look at my list and look at all the things that need to be checked off and say, ooh, there's a lot here, and I know I have to finish working on this marketing campaign today. And if I don't finish it today, I have to finish tomorrow. So just not gonna bother to check the app. So there could be a little bit of that going on. And if you know that you have multiple lists of notifications in your life and you tend to avoid these at times, I want to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know what's a system you've tried and what do you find yourself routinely avoiding. So I've been talking to my mom a lot lately, and she has been taking it upon herself to go through her home and to do some cleaning, which makes sense. At the time of this recording, it is towards the end of the year, and a lot of people want to go ahead and start off the new year with a clean slate, right? I do this with my business. What software or programs am I paying for that I'm not really using and should stop paying for? And I also do this myself in my personal life. Like, oh, is there something that I have here that I don't need anymore and I should just give away? I always love the idea of Canadian Boxing Day. I think they do this in the UK too, where you go through your home. This is done after Christmas, right? So when we think about the holiday of Christmas, there's lots of giving, lots of receiving things. And then the idea is you take that time after that holiday to go through your home to see what you should get rid of because you don't need anymore, you're not using, and you give it away to someone who could benefit from it. And I've always thought that's a really beautiful idea. The idea of not just making space in your life for all the new things that you require, but also saying, hey, these things are not a priority anymore. Let's allow someone else to enjoy them, to give them new life. And if you're into that whole Marie Kondoing thing, then you know exactly what I mean. If it's not ringing bells for you, then let it ring bells for someone else. With that being said, the idea of going through the home would also include getting rid of things that are of no use to anyone. Like, oh, the sweater with all the holes in it that you've been meaning to sew, but you know you're never going to sew. So just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. You've been meaning to take those shoes to the shoe person and get them fixed. You're not going to do it. You don't wear them. Just get rid of them, right? If you are a hoarder at heart and you just can't bear to part with the shirt that has lots of stains on it and that you never wear, well, that's a separate video for you. So making these lists, using these apps, getting rid of things that no longer benefit you. Well, for me, a lot of these apps reach the point of no longer benefiting me because I'm just not using them. Now, what has worked best for me is Excel. I kind of just always go back to Excel. I can move things around very easily in Excel. Unfortunately, I reached the point where I have a gazillion tabs, which there's a part of me that hates that. Yes, I like the idea of having things broken down. So having the marketing plan for one business separate from the marketing plan from another business, and having the fitness goals completely separate so that I'm not trying to figure out what am I doing today? How do my fitness goals relate to what I have to do for marketing, right? So I do like having all of these things separate, but then I also have another tab where everything is almost together in terms of to-dos. So those goals actually have to be translated into real actions. Otherwise, they're just dreams. So taking the goals, turning them into actions so that they're not just bucket list. Oh, I'd like to do that someday. If it happens, it happens. If not, oh well. And making a plan so that I can see, okay, these are the things that I said I would do, and have I done them? It can be a bit overwhelming at times. I have to be honest, and maybe you feel the same. I have heard many YouTubers say, lists are horrible, don't have lists, get rid of lists, do this instead. I've often heard of three main goals for the day. What are your top three? If you do the top three, would you be able to end your day feeling a success? And while I really love that idea, and I've tried that idea many times, the fact of the matter is, sometimes I can't get in the top three. And so there begs the question of, well, do I need to reevaluate my top three? Do I need to reevaluate my day? And sometimes one task takes far longer than is expected. Now, do I want to end my day going, oh man, I didn't do my three, and now I don't feel like it was a successful day. So there is kind of that weighted pressure. I could turn things around and say, all right, why don't I just set myself up to have two big things? Or maybe one big thing, one medium thing, and one just fluffy thing, just so I can feel good about my day. But is that really realistic, or is that just stroking my ego? Oh, today was a success because I fed my cat, I launched a new website, and I brushed my teeth. Wouldn't two of those things kind of be mandatory? And so, finding the perfect system for planning one's life. I don't know that the perfect system exists. I feel like with all the software that is out there, I still haven't found a system that really just solves all the nitty-gritty for me. I know some people swear by Monday.com for their business and for their personal lives. I actually don't like that software at all. I feel like it just takes me far too long to input information. I've thought of just paying somebody from Fiverr just to set it up for me so that then I can just roll with it. But then I say, well, why not just use Asana? Because at least I'm more comfortable with that. But then I know if I use the Asana, then I'm going to stop looking at it at some point. And so when we create these lists, when we create these systems, we want to also set ourselves up to have a system that we're realistically going to want to use and be able to use over an extended period of time. When you're sharing your list with other people, it is definitely a greater benefit to have a system that others can utilize and understand. And that's really where these apps come in at. That's really what they're designed for. That's the primary customer. But looking at your own life, I want you to take a look, just a moment, to reflect on your wants. Yes. So what are some things that you say you want? For me, I would like to have my energy be balanced throughout the day. I want to feel that my businesses are financially stable, not having these peaks and valleys, but to really have things consistent. I want to feel great in the skin that I'm in and take my physical imperfections and fix them to be the way that I want them to be. Now, one could be like, "Ooh, you want a lot of control." But I don't believe in spending one's life going, "Oh, I wish I had that body," or "Oh, I wish I had a multi-million-dollar business. Oh, I wish, oh, social media, why is it my life like this?" Like, what's the point of complaining and wishing? I'm not Cinderella. I'm not waiting for some fairy godmother to come over and be like, "Boops, wish granted. Oh, by the way, your wish is going to expire in a few hours. Have fun." And that kind of happens when we expect other people to give us the things that we want in life. So when you really want it, you got to go after it and get it yourself. Yes, it's nice if someone comes along and helps you out. However, we can't wait around for someone else to come along and save the day. We have to be willing to move things forward on our own. Think of Rapunzel. Yeah, she got kicked out of the tower she was in. And she could have been like, "Oh, sorry, please take me back. I can't handle being in the wild. I might be eaten by a bear." But instead, she just wandered around aimlessly, tattered and torn, until she stumbled upon her boyfriend. And, then she found her happily ever after. So sometimes we have to be willing to take the leap, whether we are pushed into the leap like Rapunzel or we take it ourselves. And we have to be willing to kind of wander through the woods and keep trying to make the life that we want to have. And then we'll find that what we wanted was there all along. Now, after you've taken a moment to think about what you want, what do you really, really want, I want you to take a moment to think about if you actually already have some of those things. I find myself going, I really need to find more time to exercise. Or, "Oh man, I really wish I could play the piano." Well, I wish I could play the piano. I purchased a piano learning program back in 2020. I purchased it and I really enjoyed the program. And for a while I was really into it. And then I found myself not practicing as much and going, this is a little hard. And so as much as I love the program, other life events started getting in the way. I found myself having to work more in order to pay for myself and the person that was living with me at the time. And then that program became less of a priority. Now, my wish to a want, to a goal, to making it a priority. The wish needs to become a want, needs to become a goal, needs to become a priority. Yes, you, my friend, need to look at what is it that you really want or wish for and how to turn those into priorities. I have a financial goal and a fitness health goal, and I've decided that these are going to become priorities. Well, the financial thing was already a priority. It has been a priority for quite some time. But I'm going to double down on that priority and keep these at the forefront of my mind to have these as top priority. Nothing gets in the way. Make it happen no matter what before the new year starts. And this is where I encourage you to take a look at your list and to ask yourself, which of these things do I still want? Do I really, really want? Which of these things have I taken a moment to turn into true goals? Have I created a plan to make them happen? And which of these things can be top priority for right now? Now, I have a whole separate video on evaluating our wants and our needs. I want to take this opportunity, pun intended, I'd like to take this opportunity, however, in this video to also encourage you to evaluate whether or not you already have some of the things you say you want, right? So my fitness goals, as they are top priority, and I really, really want to see myself in physical shape that I know I can be in. Fact is, there is no amount of apps or YouTube videos that are going to make for me what it is that I want to achieve. Gemini, it's not going to do it for me. ChatGPT, Bard, not going to do it for me. I have everything I need. I know the exercises to do. I have the sports equipment that I've always said that I wanted. I have it in my house, right? So I just need to make these things a priority. Now, it's easy for me to say, well, I did 2 minutes, so that's that. I did my part. I did something. And yes, I will applaud myself for doing something. However, I know that just the doing something, just doing the 2 minutes, while it gets me started, it's not enough to get me to reach my goal. So if this is a true priority, I need to create a system that will force me to put in even more work. I've been doing Duolingo, and I have mixed feelings about gamification in education. My issue is that there comes a point where often students are just focused on getting points, getting the dings, getting the bells and whistles. I've talked to teenagers who find it very soothing to constantly get notifications from their phone. And that worries me, because that means that they're associating those notifications with some sort of emotion. Maybe the idea that people are paying attention to them, or that they are safe, right? Well, my phone is here, so I know that my phone is safe, or I am safe. There's a lot of different things that could be associated with just feeling soothed by the sound of notifications. As someone who did not have notifications for a large part of their living existence, I find those notifications annoying. My phone is on silent most of the time. My mom was always like, I wasn't sure if I can call you because your phone says that you are busy and not accepting calls or something. I'm like, you can just ignore that. I'll take your call. So when I'm using the Duolingo app, it does send notifications to my phone, which I can turn off. It sends me little emails, which I pretty much ignore. But it reminds me, hey, you got to practice today. And I have made it a priority to practice every day. Why? Because I don't want to break my streak. I don't want to break my streak. I feel like breaking that streak would let myself down. Now, I have actually looked at this for the long term as well. Okay, so you've only been doing Duolingo for like a little over 60 days, and you are using this app in order to make progress on your goal of improving your language speaking skills for speaking French. And you are also using this app to reach the goal of learning multiple languages. So I always said, oh, it'd be so cool if I could speak Japanese, and oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could learn some Hawaiian. So this app allows me to do these things, and it allows me to do these things for free. But I did find myself trying the, I earned a free 3-day trial of their unlimited. The unlimited is like when you pay for it, and you don't get the ads, which I'd really like to not have those ads. But remember, I'm like saving money over here. I'm going with the free version. So I accept that the ad revenue helps keep this beautiful app continuing to be in existence. I'm not going to complain about ads. I saw on Reddit somewhere where someone's like, I'm sick of the ads. Well, pay for the unlimited, weirdo. You don't have a right. It is not a constitutional right for you to be able to use any platform without paying for it. It's just not a right. If you want to learn that language without ads, go get a book from your library. If you want to learn that language for free, go find someone who speaks that language and ask them to give you their time for free. You better make friends, because otherwise they're going to be like, what do I get out of this relationship? So yeah, go get a book. Stop complaining. But any hootie how. I had 3 days of the freebie, and I really found myself spending hours working on my language skills. Now, is that a bad thing? I mean, I said it was a priority for me not to break the streak, to improve my speaking skills. Was it a priority or is it a goal? And so when I was using this app for this 3-day pay period, I notice that in the scoreboard of where your rankings are, and initially I said, oh, I don't care about rankings. I don't want to be bothered with that. But then I found myself being in the top 3 like every week. And then I was like, oh, well, why don't I just go for number 1? And so then I found myself fighting to have first place every week. And then one day I noticed that there was someone else who would always push themselves into the number 1 spot. And literally, the day before the changeover to the new competitive group, I am on this app aggressively going through lessons, and I am checking to see if this person logs on, which I knew she would an hour or 2 before it changes, because you get notified when you are no longer when you no longer have your spot, right? If you're no longer in the top 3, you get notified. And so she, of course, was notified that I was now number 1. She's on. She's aggressively going. We're going back and forth. And for like 2 hours of my life, I fought hard to be number 1 on a language app. And I sent it to my mom. I was so proud of myself. See why I haven't called you today? Because I'm learning French and I am number 1 in Amethyst. Now, what I have soon learned is the more difficult that language or what I'm learning is for me, the more difficult it is to understand, then the harder it is for me to be in the top 3. And last week was the first week I was not in the top 3. I was a little sad about that, but I made sure that I stayed in the promotion zone, so that I was promoted zone. I said promotion. So that I was allowed to go to the next group of learners. Gonna work hard on the break this week. I think my eyesight is getting worse because I'm on the app so much. So why am I talking about this app? Because gamification. Gamification is a great way to get you to do things like those notifications from your phone. They want you to check. So having Google Calendar or Asana send me notifications. Hey, you said you would do this. Keep the promise to yourself. However, clearly the gamification isn't enough. The notification isn't enough. As I mentioned, it's very easy to get to a place where you ignore those things. Additionally, there is a drawback to that gamification system. So whereas gamification might be a great way to get you started on something, is it sustainable? In order to not be demoted, because I have this negative feeling about being demoted, how many hours will I have to spend every week focusing on my language skills beyond a year on this learning platform, beyond 2 years, because the idea is you really don't leave. And I did a little rough estimate. It'd take me about 2 to 3 years to be fluent in this language through this app, right? And in about 3 years, I really should be already having friends or a social network that also speaks this language. I should be focused on other material to help me maintain language skills. So the app really shouldn't be a priority in my life in a couple of years. But I don't want to break the streak. You don't want to break the streak. And so when you're looking at your list of goals, those goals that were once wants, that maybe at some point in your life were wishes, set yourself up to turn them into priorities, but give yourself a system that allows you to be okay with changes, a system that allows you to want to keep the commitment to yourself, but it is also realistic and will not cause harm to you, yourself, your life in other ways. So in order to keep the promise to myself for my fitness goals, I could go back to trying to fast for 36 hours. When I was fasting for 36 hours, I did that for a couple of months, where I would do these 36-hour fasts. And my weight did drop down to a weight I hadn't seen since maybe I was in middle school. Was I super healthy? I don't know. Because I found myself thinking about food a lot. And I was not okay with that. I was not okay with finding myself scrolling social media or YouTube an hour before bed, 2 hours before bed, just looking at food or looking at recipes or looking at people talking about food. That was not a fun place to be. And yes, there's a separate video on that. And so I encourage you, before the new year begins, to take a look at what you want, to take a look at whether those wants are things that you already are able to achieve, have access to, and if they are, how can you turn those wants into goals and prioritize those goals with a system that will lead to success and you going, woo, I am so awesome. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. You should tell yourself you're awesome every day. Just high five yourself every day. Yes, high five. But yeah, I really hope that in the new year you have all of the things that you said you wanted. You've achieved all of your goals and that you make yourself a priority. That is it for today, my friends. This is Ray from Get Real Ray. I wish you all the best. And until next time, as always, keeping it real. Peace.